Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Holtzik, in my opening statement, I noted that using the current funding mechanism in S-1217, the Housing Trust Fund and the Capital Magnet Fund would receive an estimated total of somewhere between $2.5 to $5 billion based on the current secondary market size. And this represents about 10% of HUD's annual budget. What kind of safeguards do you think would be appropriate to ensure that these funds remain accountable to Congress and to the American taxpayer?
Well, I think first and foremost they should go through the appropriations process. I think that the notion of creating off-budget entities and dedicated funding for them violates the integrity of the congressional budget process. These are important policy goals. That's not in dispute, but the program should be reviewed on a regular basis to make sure that they are meeting their policy objectives. The funding for them should be traded off against funding for other objectives within the HUD budget. And the reality is many programs that are on the budget now could be improved or eliminated, and those funds will be freed up for these objectives. And taking it outside the budget process relieves both the scrutiny on the trust fund, but also the scrutiny on the programs in the HUD budget. And that's a disservice to the taxpayer.
Thank you. And Dr. Crowley, your organization has been the leading supporter of the National Housing Trust Fund in the United States, I think. And Dr. Holtzik noted that the appropriations committees of Congress should have a role in these funds, as he has just testified, if they're going to be funded in the manner as suggested in S-1217. Do you believe a role for congressional appropriations through committees is appropriate, and perhaps through review and approval would be a reasonable method to assure accountability in the management of these funds?
Let me answer that by saying that there's nobody in the country who wants there to be more oversight and great accountability in this program than me. We are extremely clear that the dollars need to be spent for precisely what it is that Congress has indicated, and that there has to be very strong mechanisms for oversight for what how the money is used and how the housing is kept up over the years, and all the things that we think are important. We've worked too long and too hard to get this done to want to see any of the money misused or wasted. So we support the strongest possible oversight that Congress can conceive of for this program. Having said that, I have real confidence that the Banking Committee can do that. And would encourage you to look at ways to expand the oversight that's possible here. We think that it is, but we're certainly open to talking about anything that you would like to talk about. We don't want the funds in any way to be used for other purposes. The housing trust funds that have been built across the country have been done with dedicated sources of revenue that are and the ones that are most successful have housing-related sources of revenue. So the housing market produces money in one way, and then money is directed into the housing trust funds in order to solve solve problems. If we thought the appropriations process worked, which we don't think it does, and if we thought we could get the appropriated funds, as I said in my testimony, to solve this problem, then we wouldn't need to have this conversation. But it hasn't proved to be the case, and we are losing ground in the existing federal housing programs that we have. We sequestration continues, where for the very first time people with vouchers are going to actually lose their homes. That's never happened. It's time for some creative, outside-of-the-box thinking. We can't continue to try to solve this problem in the narrow constraints that we have. And so having the housing finance market, which is making a lot of money, pay some fee to support things that the market will not do, we think is highly appropriate, and we urge you to seize this opportunity.
Well, thank you, Dr. Crowley. I can assure you you're not the only one who thinks the appropriations process needs to be fixed. I think we could get some strong bipartisan agreement on that today. Thank you very much.